Welcome back to Nature Nest TV, where we help you grow smarter, not harder. What if I told you that there are fruit trees that don't just give you sweet snacks, but actually provide enough protein to sustain you? Trees that produce nuts, seeds, and fruits so nutritious you could literally build a complete diet around them? Most people think fruit trees only give you sugar and vitamins, but they're dead wrong. There are trees that produce more protein per acre than cattle ranching, more calories than wheat fields, and more complete nutrition than your entire grocery store. And they do it year after year for decades without replanting, fertilizing, or constant care. Today, I'm revealing the 12 most powerful high-protein fruit trees that could feed your family complete meals, not just desserts. We're talking about trees that our ancestors relied on for survival, that fed entire civilizations, but that modern agriculture has buried because once you plant them, you never need the food system again. I'll show you what each tree produces, the exact protein content, why they've been hidden from you, how incredibly easy they are to grow, how much food one tree provides, and the specific meals you can make from each one. Plus, I've got a massive bonus tip at the end, showing you how to design a complete protein orchard that gives you all the protein, fats, and carbohydrates your family needs for generations without ever buying another bag of flour, can of beans, or pound of meat. Before we dive in, I need you to do something right now. Hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell. Why? Because what I'm about to share threatens a multi-billion-dollar industry that profits from keeping you dependent on their products. This is knowledge that makes you completely food independent, and the system doesn't want you to have it. But I'm giving it to you anyway, and I need to make sure you don't miss a single video. Stay with me all the way to the end because the tree at number 1 produces more protein than beef, costs nothing to maintain, and could single-handedly feed your family through any crisis. Let's get into it. Tree number 12, hazelnut, the protein-packed nut that grows in shade. Let's start with a tree that most people think of as just a snack, but that's actually a complete protein source. Hazelnuts aren't just delicious, they're nutritional powerhouses that have sustained entire populations through harsh European winters for thousands of years. Protein content. Hazelnuts contain 15 grams of protein per 100 grams, about 3.5 ounces. That's roughly the same as chicken breast, but from a tree that requires zero feeding, zero butchering, and zero daily care. What do hazelnuts provide? Beyond protein, hazelnuts are loaded with healthy fats, 60% fat content, mostly monounsaturated, the heart-healthy kind. Vitamin E, one of the richest sources on Earth. B vitamins for your energy, magnesium for muscle and bone health, fiber for digestion. Why were they forgotten? Because industrial hazelnut production became centralized in Oregon and Turkey. The industry convinced people that growing your own nuts was too difficult or took too long. Complete lies. Hazelnuts are one of the easiest nut trees to grow. How easy are they to grow? Incredibly easy. Hazelnut bushes, they're technically shrubs, not trees, grow 10 to 20 feet tall and tolerate partial shade, poor soil, and cold winters down to zone 4. They produce nuts within 3 to 4 years and keep producing for 40 plus years. Planting instructions. Buy at least 2 different hazelnut varieties for cross-pollination, varieties like Jefferson, Yamhill, or Theta. Plant in early spring, spacing them 10 to 15 feet apart in full sun or partial shade. Dig holes twice as wide as root balls. Place shrubs, backfill with soil, and water deeply. Hazelnuts grow in zones 4 through 9. Maintenance, minimal. Prune out suckers at the base to keep the plant as a tree form rather than a sprawling bush. Mulch around the base. Harvest. In fall, nuts ripen and drop to the ground still inside their papery husks. Collect them, remove husks, and dry the nuts for a week before storing. Meals you can make. Hazelnut butter, like peanut butter but richer. Hazelnut flour for baking. Grind dried hazelnuts into fine powder. Roasted hazelnuts as protein-rich snacks. Hazelnut milk, blend with water, strain. Add to stir-fries, salads, and grain bowls for protein survival value. One mature hazelnut bush produces 10 to 25 pounds of nuts per year. If you planted just 5 bushes, you'd have 50 to 125 pounds of high-protein nuts annually, enough to provide significant protein for a family of 4 year-round. Yield. One hazelnut shrub produces 10 to 25 pounds of nuts annually for 40 plus years. Tree number 11, Mulberry, the protein leaf tree that also gives you fruit. Most people know mulberries for their sweet fruit, but here's the secret almost nobody knows. Mulberry leaves contain more protein than most vegetables and have been used as livestock feed and human food for thousands of years. Protein content. Fresh mulberry leaves contain about 4 to 6 grams of protein per 100 grams of leaves, similar to spinach but available in massive quantities from a single tree. The fruit itself contains about 1.4 grams of protein per 100 grams, plus tons of vitamins and minerals. What do mulberries provide? Complete protein from leaves, all essential amino acids, antioxidants, especially in dark-colored fruit, vitamin C, iron, and calcium, massive caloric yields. One tree can produce 200+ pounds of fruit. Why were they forgotten? Mulberry trees were removed from cities because the fruit stained sidewalks, and Western culture stopped eating leaves, even though they're incredibly nutritious. In Asia, mulberry leaves are still consumed as vegetables and used to feed silkworms. How easy are they to grow? Ridiculously easy. Mulberry trees are nearly indestructible. They tolerate drought, poor soil, extreme heat, and cold down to zone 4. They grow 30 to 50 feet tall and start producing fruit within 2 to 3 years. Planting instructions. Buy mulberry trees in early spring. Choose varieties like Illinois everbearing or Pakistan for heavy fruit production. Plant in full sun, spacing trees at least 30 feet apart. They get big. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball. Place the tree, backfill, and water deeply. Mulberries grow in zones 4 through 9. Maintenance. None. Seriously. Mulberries are drought tolerant and pest resistant. They just grow. Harvest. Fruit. Ripens in late spring to early summer. Spread tarps under the tree and shake branches. Ripe fruit falls off. Leaves. Pick young, tender leaves in spring and early summer before they get tough. Meals you can make. Cook mulberry leaves like spinach. Sauté with garlic and olive oil. Add fresh leaves to smoothies for protein. Dry leaves and grind into powder for protein shakes. Eat fresh mulberries or dry them like raisins. Make mulberry jam, pies, or wine. Survival value. One mulberry tree produces 200+ pounds of fruit per year, plus unlimited edible leaves. If you harvested just 10 pounds of leaves per week during the growing season, that's an additional 2 to 4 pounds of protein from leaves alone. Yield. One tree produces 200+ pounds of fruit and 50+ pounds of edible leaves annually for 50+ years. Tree number 10. Black walnut, the calorie and protein king. Black walnut trees are absolute nutritional powerhouses. These are the trees that fed Native Americans through brutal winters and sustained pioneers moving west. Protein content. Black walnuts contain 24 grams of protein per 100 grams, higher than most nuts and comparable to lean meat. What do black walnuts provide? Extremely high calories. 654 calories per 100 grams, healthy omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin E, magnesium, and phosphorus, complete amino acid profile. Why were they forgotten? Because black walnuts are hard to crack. Modern society wants convenience, so easier to shell English walnuts became popular. But black walnuts are far more nutritious and the trees are virtually indestructible. How easy are they to grow? Very easy, but they require space. Black walnut trees grow 50 to 75 feet tall and live for 100+ years. They tolerate poor soil, drought, and extreme cold, zone 4. Warning: black walnuts produce juglone, a chemical that kills some plants, like tomatoes and azaleas. Plan your planting location carefully, away from sensitive garden beds. Planting instructions. Plant black walnut trees in early spring in full sun, spacing them at least 40 feet from other trees and structures. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball. Place the tree, backfill, and water deeply. Black walnuts grow in zones 4 through 9. Maintenance: none. These are native North American trees that thrive on neglect. Harvest: in fall, collect nuts from the ground. Wear gloves. The husks stain everything dark brown. Remove husks, let nuts sit for a few days first, then dry the nuts in shells for several weeks. Crack shells with a hammer or vise. The nut meats are intensely flavorful. Meals you can make. Black walnut butter. Grind roasted nut meats. Black walnut flour, finely ground nuts for baking. Add to salads, grain bowls, and stir fries for protein. Black walnut pesto replaces pine nuts. Roasted nuts as high-protein snacks. Survival value. One black walnut tree produces 50 to 80 pounds of nuts per year. That's 32,000 plus calories and 12 plus pounds of pure protein from a single tree. Plant 3 to 5 trees, and you have enough protein and calories to sustain your family year-round. Yield. One tree produces 50 to 80 pounds of nuts annually for 100 plus years. Tree number 9, pecan. The southern protein powerhouse pecans are similar to black walnuts, but sweeter, easier to shell, and even more productive. Protein content. Pecans contain 9 grams of protein per 100 grams, plus they're absolutely loaded with calories and healthy fats. What do pecans provide? 691 calories per 100 grams, extremely energy dense, healthy monounsaturated fats, vitamin E, thiamine, and magnesium, fiber for digestion. Why were they forgotten? They weren't in the South, but most of the country thinks pecans only grow in warm climates. Wrong. Cold hardy varieties thrive in zones 5 through 9. How easy are they to grow? Very easy once established. Pecan trees grow massive, 70 to 100 feet tall, and live for 100 plus years. They tolerate heat, drought, and poor soil once their roots are deep. Planting instructions. Choose cold hardy varieties like Kanza, Lakota, or Pawnee. Plant at least 2 trees for cross-pollination in early spring, spacing them 40 to 60 feet apart in full sun. Dig holes twice as wide as root balls. Place trees, backfill, and water deeply. Maintenance. Water young trees during extreme drought for the first 2 to 3 years. After that, they're self-sufficient. Harvest. In fall, nuts drop to the ground. Collect them, dry them for a few weeks, then crack and store. Meals you can make. Pecan butter. Pecan flour for baking. Pecan milk. Blend with water, strain. Roasted pecans as protein snacks. Add to oatmeal, salads, and stir-fries. Survival value. One mature pecan tree produces 100 plus pounds of nuts per year. That's over 300,000 calories and 20 plus pounds of protein from a single tree. Yield. One tree produces 100 plus pounds of nuts annually for 100 plus years. Tree number 8, almond. The tree that produces more protein than beef. Per acre. Almonds are one of the most protein-dense foods you can grow, and almond trees are surprisingly easy to cultivate. Protein content. Almonds contain 21 grams of protein per 100 grams, higher than most nuts and close to meat. What do almonds provide? 579 calories per 100 grams, vitamin E, magnesium, and calcium, healthy fats for energy, fiber for gut health. Why were they forgotten? They weren't, but almond production became dominated by California megafarms. The industry convinced people that growing almonds requires perfect conditions and tons of water. That's only true for commercial monoculture. Home almond trees are drought tolerant once established. How easy are they to grow? Fairly easy in the right climates. Almonds need hot, dry summers and mild winters. They grow in zones 7 through 9. Planting instructions. Buy self-fertile varieties like all-in-one or plant 2 varieties for cross-pollination. Plant in early spring and full sun with excellent drainage. Space trees 15 to 20 feet apart. Dig holes twice as wide as root balls. Place trees, backfill, and water. Maintenance? Minimal. Water deeply but infrequently. Almonds prefer dry conditions. Prune lightly to shape the tree. Harvest. In late summer, almond hulls split open, revealing the shells. Knock nuts from the tree. Remove hulls, dry the shells, then crack and store nut meats. Meals you can make. Almond butter, almond flour, blanch, peel, grind. Almond milk. Roasted almonds as protein snacks. Almond meal for coating fish or chicken. Survival value. One almond tree produces 30 to 50 pounds of nuts per year. That's 17,000 plus calories and 10 plus pounds of pure protein. Yield. One tree produces 30 to 50 pounds of nuts annually for 50 plus years. Tree number 7, chestnut, the bread tree. With serious protein, chestnuts are unique among nuts. They're low in fat, high in carbohydrates, and packed with protein. They were literally called bread trees because you could grind them into flour and bake bread. Protein content. chestnuts contain 3 grams of protein per 100 grams when fresh, and about 6 grams per 100 grams when dried. That might seem low, but chestnuts are consumed in much larger quantities than typical nuts because they're starchy and filling. What do chestnuts provide? Complex carbohydrates for sustained energy, vitamin C, rare in nuts, B vitamins, potassium, and magnesium. Low fat content makes them easier to digest in large quantities. Why were they forgotten? The American chestnut blight of the early 1900s wiped out billions of trees. But blight-resistant varieties are now available. How easy are they to grow? Easy with the right varieties. Choose Chinese chestnuts or hybrid chestnuts that resist blight. They grow in zones 4 through 8. Planting instructions. Plant at least 2 chestnut trees for cross-pollination in early spring. Space trees 30 to 40 feet apart in full sun. Dig holes twice as wide as root balls. Place trees, backfill, and water. Maintenance. Minimal. Mulch around the base and water during extreme drought for the first few years. Harvest. In fall, spiny husks split open and drop nuts. Collect them quickly before wildlife gets them. Roast fresh chestnuts or dry them for long-term storage. Meals you can make. Roasted chestnuts, classic. Chestnut flour, dry, grind into powder, use for baking bread, pancakes, pasta. Chestnut soup, boil, mash, add to broth. Chestnut stuffing for poultry, sweet chestnut puree, dessert. Survival value. Chestnuts are a true staple food, not just a protein source. You can live on chestnuts the way you'd live on potatoes or rice. They're that filling and versatile. One tree produces 50 to 100 pounds of nuts per year. You could literally bake bread from these trees. Yield. One tree produces 50 to 100 pounds of nuts annually for 60 plus years. Tree number 6, piñon pine, the sacred nut of the Southwest. Piñon pine nuts are small but incredibly nutrient-dense. Native Americans in the Southwest relied on them as a primary protein source for thousands of years. Protein content. Pine nuts contain 14 grams of protein per 100 grams, plus they're loaded with healthy fats and calories. What do pine nuts provide? 673 calories per 100 grams, extremely energy-dense. Vitamin K, magnesium, and zinc. Healthy fats for sustained energy, unique amino acid profile. Why were they forgotten? Pine nuts are expensive to buy because they're labor-intensive to harvest commercially. But if you grow your own piñon pines, you get them for free. How easy are they to grow? Fairly easy in the right climates. Piñon pines grow slowly but are extremely drought-tolerant and long-lived, 200 plus years. They grow in zones 5 through 9, thriving in hot, dry, rocky soils where other trees fail. Planting instructions. Buy piñon pine seedlings in early spring. Plant in full sun with excellent drainage. Space trees 15 to 20 feet apart. Dig holes twice as wide as root balls. Place trees, backfill, and water. Maintenance. Almost none. Once established, piñon pines need 0 water and 0 fertilizer. Harvest. Pine cones mature in fall. Collect cones. Heat them gently to open scales and shake out the nuts. Shell the nuts and roast lightly before eating. Meals you can make. Pine nut butter. Grind roasted nuts. Add to salads, pesto, grain bowls. Pine nut flour for baking. Roasted pine nuts as high-protein, high-calorie snacks. Survival value. One mature piñon pine produces 5 to 15 pounds of nuts per year. While that's lower than other nut trees, pine nuts are so calorie and protein-dense that a small amount goes a long way. Yield. One tree produces 5 to 15 pounds of nuts annually for 200 plus years. Tree number 5, avocado, the protein and fat. Powerhouse avocados are technically fruits, but they're unlike any other fruit. They're loaded with healthy fats and contain significant protein. Protein content. Avocados contain 2 grams of protein per 100 grams. That might not sound like much, but one avocado weighs 200 to 300 grams, giving you 4 to 6 grams of protein per fruit. What do avocados provide? 160 calories per 100 grams, mostly from healthy fats. 15 grams of fat per 100 grams, heart-healthy monounsaturated fats. Potassium, vitamin K, folate, and vitamin E, fiber for digestion. Why were they forgotten? They weren't, but people think avocados only grow in tropical climates. Cold-hardy varieties thrive in zones 8 through 11, and some even survive zone 7 with protection. How easy are they to grow? Fairly easy in the right climates. Avocado trees need well-drained soil and protection from hard freezes. Planting instructions: buy grafted avocado trees, varieties like Mexicola or Pecan for cold hardiness. Plant in spring in full sun with excellent drainage. Space trees 15 to 20 feet apart. Maintenance: water regularly until established. Mulch heavily. Protect from frost in borderline zones. Harvest: avocados ripen on the tree but only soften after picking. Harvest when they reach full size, then let them ripen indoors. Meals you can make: guacamole, avocado smoothies. Add to any smoothie for creaminess and protein. Sliced avocado on salads, sandwiches, grain bowls. Avocado oil. Press ripe avocados. Survival value: one mature avocado tree produces 100 to 300 plus avocados per year. That's 200 to 600 plus grams of protein plus massive amounts of healthy fats and calories. Yield: one tree produces 100 to 300 plus avocados annually for 50 plus years. Tree number 4, moringa. The miracle protein tree. Moringa is called the miracle tree for good reason. It contains more protein than almost any other plant. Protein content: fresh moringa leaves contain 9 grams of protein per 100 grams. Dried moringa leaf powder contains 27 grams of protein per 100 grams, higher than most meats. What does moringa provide? Complete protein, all 9 essential amino acids, more vitamin C than oranges, more calcium than milk, more potassium than bananas, iron, vitamin A, and powerful antioxidants. Why was it forgotten? It wasn't forgotten in Africa, Asia, and South America. It's a staple there. But Western agriculture ignored it because it doesn't fit the commercial model. How easy is it to grow? Extremely easy in warm climates. Moringa grows fast, up to 20 feet in the first year, and produces edible leaves, seed pods, and roots. Moringa thrives in zones 9 through 11, but can be grown in containers and brought indoors in colder zones. Planting instructions: buy moringa seeds or young trees. Plant in full sun in well-drained soil. Space trees 10 feet apart. Moringa tolerates poor soil and drought. Maintenance: prune regularly to keep the tree bushy and productive. Water during dry spells. Harvest: leaves. Pick young leaves year-round. Use fresh or dry into powder. Seed pods: harvest when young and tender, like green beans. Seeds: collect mature seeds for eating or planting. Meals you can make: add fresh moringa leaves to soups, stir-fries, curries. Blend dried moringa powder into smoothies, oatmeal, or baked goods. Cook young seed pods like green beans. Roast mature seeds like nuts. Survival value: one moringa tree produces 50 plus pounds of edible leaves per year. If you dried all those leaves into powder, you'd have 13 plus pounds of pure protein. Yield: one tree produces 50 plus pounds of leaves, pods, and seeds annually for 20 plus years. Tree number 3, coconut palm, the complete food. Tree: coconuts provide protein, fat, carbohydrates, and water, everything you need to survive. Protein content: coconut meat contains 3.3 grams of protein per 100 grams. Coconut flour contains 19 grams of protein per 100 grams. What do coconuts provide? Complete nutrition: protein, fats, carbs, vitamins, minerals, coconut water for hydration, coconut oil for cooking, coconut milk for drinking and cooking. Why were they forgotten? Only in cold climates. In tropical zones, 10 to 11, coconuts are still essential. How easy are they to grow? Very easy in tropical climates. Plant a coconut, water it, and walk away. Meals you can make: coconut flour for baking, coconut milk for smoothies, curries, coconut oil for cooking, fresh coconut meat as protein snacks. Survival value: one coconut palm produces 50 to 200 coconuts per year for 60 plus years. Yield: one tree produces 50 to 200 coconuts annually for 60 plus years. Tree number 2, oak, acorns, the forgotten staple. Protein acorns sustained entire civilizations for thousands of years. Protein content. Acorns contain 6 grams of protein per 100 grams, plus they're loaded with fats and carbs. What do acorns provide? 387 calories per 100 grams. Complete nutrition. Protein, fats, carbs. Long-term storage capability. How easy are they to grow? Plant once, harvest for 200 plus years. Meals you can make. Acorn flour, leach tannins, dry, grind. Acorn bread, pancakes, pasta. Survival value. One oak produces 500 plus pounds of acorns per year. Yield. One tree produces 500 plus pounds annually for 200 plus years. Tree number 1, breadfruit, the ultimate protein and carb. Tree breadfruit is the most complete food tree on earth. Protein content. Breadfruit contains 1 to 2 grams of protein per 100 grams fresh, but one fruit weighs 2 to 5 pounds, giving you significant protein per fruit. What does breadfruit provide? Complete nutrition. 103 calories per 100 grams. All essential amino acids. Massive yields. 200 plus fruits per tree per year. Why was it forgotten? Only grows in tropics, zones 10 to 11. Meals you can make. Breadfruit flour, dry, grind. Roasted breadfruit chips, breadfruit curry. Survival value. One breadfruit tree can feed a family of 4 year-round. Yield. One tree produces 200 plus fruits, 400 to 1,000 plus pounds, annually for 50 plus years. Bonus tip. Design your protein orchard plant 2 to 3 of each tree based on your climate zone for complete nutrition forever. Smash that like button, comment which tree you're planting, and subscribe to Nature Nest TV. Share this with everyone who wants food independence. Nest TV. Grow smarter, not harder.